All right, everyone, let's get started. The meeting is commencing at 7:01. Good evening. This is the Public Safety Committee meeting for the Studio City Neighborhood Council for September 29. Let's call this meeting to order and call the roll. Jeff Harwick is here. Alexis Steinberg. She is not here. Patty Kirby.
Here.
Jerry Lewis.
Here.
And Scott Mandel.
Present.
We have a quorum. Agenda item number 2, approval of the August minutes, which I had circulated. Without objection, I will deem those approved. Thank you. They are approved. Agenda item number 3, chair update. Couple of things. First of all, regarding our committee's motions from last month, they were all passed by the board. If you recall, they were the catalytic converter motion, the towing storage space motion, the illegal dumping motion, and most importantly, the LAPD support letter, which was unanimously passed by our board and which was disseminated to everyone who needed a copy of that letter. Secondly, I would like to, we'll talk about later, but we had the NTP disaster preparedness drill back on August 27. It was a very good success. We'll discuss it later on. I believe it's agenda item number 8. But it was quite a success. It was good seeing, I think almost everyone from the board was there and the committee. And it was a good time. Also, Richard mentioned to me, Richard Niederberg, board member, about California's Shakeout. So California has a Shakeout annually, which is an earthquake preparedness drill. This year it's October 20th. So I urge everyone to go out, go to www.shakeout.org, sign up. Millions of people participate in these drills. In light of what's happened in Florida over the past couple of days, we see what do. So I think it would be helpful if we also participate in that as a committee and also let people in our community know about the California Shakeout and try to participate. That is it for the chair update. I'll move along to item number 4, public comment and possible clarification on non-agenda items within the committee's jurisdiction. 1 minute per speaker, 10 minutes max each agenda item. If you're accessing the meeting via phone, please use *9 to raise hand and *6 to unmute. Looks like we have one member of the public who wishes to speak. Go ahead, go Puppet.
Unmute me. Yes. So of course, doing the math, 1 speaker divided by 10 equals 1 fucking minute. Yes, Scott has still failed to teach you proper mathematics. And of course, when you limit tiny little cute animals like myself to a mere 60 seconds, then I have to treat you like I treat Mary Louisa Martinez and everybody on the council. So you treat them good. Yes. Yes, they love me, and I love them so much. And so does the FBI, because it keeps them gainfully employed, doesn't it? Yes. So our union friends and the firemen have officially endorsed Rick Caruso for mayor. Holy shit. So that's every law enforcement official and everybody with an IQ over 100 will be voting for Rick Caruso.
That's time. Finish your thought, please.
Yes, you know what that means. That means that only 40% of the city's going to vote for Rick Caruso because 60% have an IQ under 100, according to my computer. Yes. Thank you so much for my lousy minute.
Thank you for that, Mr. Puppet. Do I see anyone else who wishes to make a public comment? Seeing none, let's move on to agenda item number 5. Update from LAPD Senior Lead Officer Sean Smith. Sean, good to see you.
Good to see everyone. Hopefully everyone's having a good evening. Starting to cool down. Right now it's pretty nice. We get, I continue to, and the LAPD continue to look for the homicide suspect of the homeless individual that was down in the LA River area. The suspect, we believe, also, like I said, did a stabbing the night before. We have a lot of the homeless people that I deal with on a regular basis are helping out. They see people down there. They've given me information of people that have been violent down there. So we're following all the leads we can. Other people in the community have been helping us out. But it's one of these things that's very dark down there, and there's very, very little leads. We're hoping maybe some DNA comes back to someone, but lots of times let's have somebody to compare it to. Our lab is not like the TV lab, meaning it's very burdened. We have a lot of crimes they're running DNA through. So I'm hoping we get a hit pretty soon. I'm hoping that we catch somebody on an unrelated crime and end up finding out this person did it. We definitely don't want to see any more hurt. I just again advise people to be careful. When you're down in dark areas like that in the middle of the night, make sure maybe you have a walking buddy, carry flashlights, stuff like that, and stay safe. Overall crime rate in Studio City is down 10.5% from this time last year. Violent crime is down 28%. The other parts of the city are not sharing this as much as we are. We've been having a lot of success in Studio City. We have the most citizen involvement throughout the North Hollywood area than any other area so we enjoy that. It's very good. I get people calling me all the time about everything. Some of it's burdensome, but a lot of it really leads to a lot of good stuff. So I want to thank all the community members for that. And it's people like you all that get involved in stuff like the committee that you're on right now. And we can't, we keep losing LAPD at a record speed right now, officers. So for the month of August, we had 25 recruits and 65 retirees. And that has been basically how things have been going for about a year or more. And it's projected to go pretty much the same for a while. They're looking for candidates, and it's hard to get them. And they go countrywide looking for people that want to apply for the job. So we're hoping we can fill those numbers up and get back to a reasonable number. Even when we had our strength 10,500 for a city this large, it's still very hard to patrol. New York is larger in population, but not the size of New York. We have the valley, which you all live in, and the valley's basically kind of neglected for resources as it is. It's a huge area, and we just do not have the police force that that we need to patrol it the way that we would like. So we need the public's help constantly, and maybe reaching out there. And a lot of people have not been involved in their neighborhood watches because of COVID. Maybe it's a good time to reach out there through the neighborhoods and see if everybody wants to start them up again, and maybe get a meeting going. It's getting cooler, so we can meet in people's backyards and just get things going like that. We need to get people on board with keeping Studio City safe. Studio City is, a nice place to live for, that type of reason, because people get involved. So does anybody have any questions I can answer for them?
I do. Sean, today, do you hear me?
Yes.
Today, I guess on Citizen, they said there was a stabbing at Vons, or a robbery at Vons about an hour or 2 hours ago
Not that I'm aware of.
on Laurel Canyon.
Not that I'm aware of. I've been doing training online last hour, but I didn't hear of anything like that. We had a call come in up in the hills of people stealing packages, and it was a false call. We found the person. They even gave a license plate, and somebody called in a bogus plate or something. We were out there. We have officers questioning the person who called it in right now. But like I said, I was in training. I had headphones on doing this training that's mandated. So it's possible within that last hour I missed that. But I don't know for sure. I could find out.
Oh, it's just, I was just curious. It just came in, so I thought, I'll check.
Stabbings are up citywide. It's one of those things. And I think lots of times with our stabbings, a lot of times the homeless population has knives and they're using that. And we have, when it's more like gang members and stuff like that, we see more guns being used. Of course, our shootings are up too citywide, but our stabbings, which is super scary. I mean, everybody's afraid of a gun and stuff like that. But, tell you the truth, I've seen stab wounds and I don't know what would be, they're all horrible, but stab wounds are horrible. They don't come out the same way they went in. They twist and turn and they leave some horrible wounds. So we're seeing more and more of those, unfortunately.
Okay, well, thank you, Sean, for everything you're doing.
Absolutely. And thank you all for that letter. It was really nice. It was my boss asked if I bribed you guys to write it, but it was really nice. We appreciate it.
It's well deserved, Officer Smith, well deserved. Mr. Puppet, go ahead.
Yes. I'm very shocked to learn here that these homeless people have knives. Now, one thing that I have here, if I can thank you. This is a very good tool here. It's a wrench. See that? Now, what I did is I went ahead and see, we just changed that like that. See, so that when somebody comes near you, you just go like that. And usually, when they see me and they see a talking animal, most of the homeless people actually just run away in fear. So you might want to consider getting your own puppet friend like me. That's why I'm a good puppet sheriff. And then, of course, now we know there are snitches within the homeless community. Yes, the police officer just revealed what do we call it? You guys that used to do this shit, law enforcement techniques. Yes, thank you. Yes.
That's your time. Finish your thought.
Right. Yeah. Isn't it too bad, Scott, that we're giving away our law enforcement techniques? Next thing you know, you'll have a list of snitches. Not very good to the start of.
Thank you for that. Mike.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think you made a good point.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh boy, a police radio.
Two things. First of all, thank you, Officer Smith. I was at a Cal Grocers Association meeting with the loss prevention people from the grocery chains throughout Southern California. So I seem to think we're not aware of the senior lead officers in the area. What's the best way for them to reach out to someone as yourself? And the second thing was, I thought the National Night Out was a great event, but it's once a year, correct?
Yes.
And I think next year, and if there were one in between, I certainly could be helping to encourage the grocers to advertise it. Because I mean, that's in the community, their loss prevention people need that. They're seeking the cooperation. They had the police chief from the city of Redland speaking to them. Much smaller community, much more controlled. But certainly there is a desire on the part of the grocers to get more involved in their local community as it relates to this. So what is the best way for them to contact their senior lead officer for the area?
So lapdonline.org, if they get on that, they can pull up basically, they would just have to know what division of the LAPD they're in, which is easy to find out. And then once you click on that division, it'll basically bring up a map of the division and they can find out who their senior lead officer is fairly quickly. It has all of our phone numbers and email addresses. I highly recommend always reaching out with an email. And, you know, and notifying them too is like, hey, if they have an emergency, it's not to be called the senior lead officer, because I don't bring my phone home, you know, and stuff like that. But leaving a detailed email with a good phone number to call back, I rather not go back with 10 different emails. I rather call somebody and talk to them myself. And I think that's part of the senior lead officer thing is I don't want to just know somebody by email. I drive out lots of times when I'm talking to somebody, meet them one-on-one, try to develop a friendship. That's the senior lead officers. That's our job to do that. And, you know, that's why we become senior lead officers, because we like that connection. And so, yeah, I would, like I said, highly suggest this, looking on that. And then as, you know, as far as like National Night Out, you know, National Night Out was brought up is a community thing, not a police thing that we just join in. So I would love to see if Studio City has it back at like Beeman Park or something like that. It was phenomenal when we had it there that one year. I think it was fantastic. So the more we can get, the better. I think the more that, you know, more areas that we can do, I think that's fantastic. You know, I highly encourage anybody to get involved. I think lots of times, you know, businesses sometimes are left out of discussions about the neighbors because it's the residents that get to vote there, not the people sometimes that have their business there. So they're not heard lots of times. And a lot of crime and a lot of things affect the businesses too. And the businesses bring jobs into the community, brings other people into the community. So I think it's very important for these business people to get on board. Like, you know, they have the down on Ventura Boulevard, they have the BID, which is the Business Improvement District. They have the Chamber of Commerce. And I think a lot of businesses over time have dropped out of these type of things, and they need to jump back in there so their voices are heard more in the community for sure. Because, you know, we're seeing businesses close down, you know, all over the place because they're not having their needs met and stuff like that, the typical crime that's going on. So I think, yeah, they need to for sure have their voices heard. And that's time, you know, Studio City, the citizens don't seem to travel outside of Studio City for do their grocery shopping, or everything basically you can buy right in Studio City, which is pretty cool. You don't really need to travel that far from it, which makes it such a cool community. So the businesses involved, especially in Studio City, I hope they at least reach out to the Chamber of Commerce and start going from there.
Do any committee members have anything for Officer Smith? I see one more hand raised. It's Mr. Puppet. We'll give him one more shot. Go ahead, Mr. Puppet.
Yes, and I have my scanner here. Now I feel like a real policeman. You look pretty cool there. Yes. So again, beware of the BID. It's called the Business Improvement District. Those of you that think that's a good idea, I warn you, it's a scam. And usually to force businesses into a BID, which is nothing more than a large tax, is that politicians have been known to pull away resources and make the area into calamity and then have a vote on it. So I hope that's not what's happening. And I would never think that the LA City Council would deliberately pull resources away to try to force a BID, you know, like they're trying to do in Reseda, Studio City, Koreatown. Oh, no, not our honest city council. Yes, and of course, LAPD monitors our city council.
That's your time.
Yes, and our police officers always report suspicious activity of our elected officials. Yeah. I have nothing but confidence.
Thank you, Mr. Puppet. Officer Smith, I don't think we have anything else for you. Thank you for appearing tonight. Thank you for all that you do for our community, and hope to see you next month.
Yeah, thank you very much for letting me be a part of this. And please, feel free to pass my information on to some people that don't have it. Like I said, my email is readily out there. And if they want to send me videos or something, even if they're not sure it's LAPD related, I can get back to them, help them out with different resources that I've been able to come in contact throughout the years. So thank you very much, folks, for having me on. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, you too. All right, let's move on to agenda item number 6, comments by any other public officials and or staff. I don't see any other staff members. I did invite Mr. Duffner, who is one of the neighborhood prosecutors. I guess he's not going to show up tonight, but hopefully we'll get him next month. Let's move on to agenda item number 7. Update from the North Hollywood LAPD Community Police Advisory Board members. So Sherry, I see you there. Go ahead and take it away. Thank you.
Hi. Yeah, I just want to let you know, I did read the letter from you guys at our CPAD meeting and embarrassed Sean a bit. So that was great. And I totally forgot about getting online at the police commission meeting because I was going to read it there too, because I know Tess Taylor read the one from Toluca Lake. So I wanted to get one from you guys to let the commission know the support that you have and some of the things that you said in there. So plan on doing that. Sean already went through all the crime things that I was going to talk about. We did have our Valley traffic officer attend our meeting. And one of the things that he talked about was how parents are dropping off their kids at school and letting them out like in the middle of the block. So they run across the street to get to the school. So he thinks that there needs to be more of an emphasis on educating the kids to walk to the corner or to a crosswalk before crossing the street. He says a lot of times parents are running late for work or they're on their phone or whatever, and they just open up the door and the kids jump out and he's waiting for something tragic to happen. Also on, I think he said every Thursday, Valley Traffic has a, not an event, but you can go and make sure that your child safety seat is put in your car correctly and how to make sure that the child is secure correctly in the car. So those are two things that he was talking about. We had a meeting on Monday night or Tuesday night that started very late because we were having issues at the station for our national night out to get all the neighborhood councils there to see what their thoughts were, the pros and cons of doing it, in one big group. We only had one that stuck it out. That was a real trooper and waited till we got on about 20 minutes late. So I did send an email out to all the other ones that did participate to get feedback of the pros and cons and what they would like to do different. And if they'd be interested in doing it next year. We're thinking about possibly maybe having it over on Lankershim Boulevard and shutting it down and having everybody congregate over there. It's probably a little easier and the parking would be a little bit better. Those were a couple of things that we talked about, but hopefully we're getting really busy now. We're getting to the busy time of the year. So I think that probably we might try to have another meeting in person, like in January or February with the neighborhood councils that did participate in National Night Out and get their input and go from there and see how many want to continue with it. It gives you enough time to get back to your boards to get approval if you're going to do it, to buy swag, to get the money and all of that. So it's coming up, I think August 2nd, August 1st or 2nd is the first Tuesday in August. So before you know it, it'll be here. So I want to get started on that early. As far as what's going on, I know Sean was talking about, hiring. Saturday, October 8th at Valley College is a hiring event for sworn and civilian personnel, reserve officers. There'll be city positions that are open too. So it's all day long, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. And there'll be testing there. There'll be, for people that want to get involved in the police department, have to take the test. You have an opportunity to take it there. They'll have static displays and food trucks. And I think the city people will be there too, offering positions. So it's a good event. I don't know. I know I posted the flyer on Nextdoor. I don't know if I sent it to you for you to advertise, but I will. I'll send it to you, Scott, and you can do with it that you want to see about getting it out there to the community. The other thing that's, and that happens to be the same day of the citywide CPAB co-chair summit downtown. So I obviously won't be able to make it to that event, but it should be good. The next thing that's coming up is our first big fundraiser of the year that we're doing for North Hollywood Division, which is the car show. We're going to be doing a car show at Alexandria Park where the tiny homes are, in the back by the parking lot where the UA Theater was. It's going to be, all the funds are going to be going towards our winter festival, getting toys and all of that. If anybody has a car that they want to come and show, it's $40, per car to come in and get a place to park. If you have 2 people max in your car that come, you and somebody else coming, you both get in for free. And regular general admission is $10. If people want to be a vendor there, it's $250. And for those that bring a new unwrapped toy to fill a cop car with toys, admission is free. We already have about 100 cars that have signed up for it. Should be a fun day, a fun event. So you can get the word out to any people that have got a fancy car or truck or something that they want to bring to a car show. This is a good place to do it. And also, like I said, it's a fundraiser for a winter festival. And that's coming up Saturday, December 17th. And it's going to be back at Whitsett Park like it was last year. We gave away about, I think, almost close to 2,500 toys to the kids. And the city council's behind it and everything. And of course, the chief came and he was so impressed, and word got back to the city, and now it's going to be on the city calendar as an event. So it should be bigger this year. They're looking into really stepping out of the box, instead of just having the snow and the little slide that you go down, the little hump of snow. They're looking at possibly getting an ice skating rink for the kids. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be big. And that goes from about 9 o'clock in the morning to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Of course, we'll have Santa there, and our big toy giveaway. I don't know if there's going to be any toy drives like we used to have at the Studio City Farmers Market, or have boxes around as the holidays get closer for people to drop off toys. If the Studio City Neighborhood Council wants to make a donation to our PALS group, for whatever amount to buy toys, that's an option as well. Let's see, the other thing coming up in November 6th is going to be the Armenian Community Forum. That's going to be held in North Hollywood at a facility, but it's valley-wide for the Armenian community to come. There's a Faith in Blue for, it's Faith in Blue it happens every year, where the law enforcement gets together with the clergy, and it's a meet and greet and everything. And we're having ours on, it's a whole weekend thing. And we're having one at, let me see, I just got the flyer, Faith in Blue. It's going to be on Sunday, October 9th from 11:15 in the morning to 12:15 at the Christ Chapel of the Valley. It's on Magnolia Boulevard in North Hollywood, and it's a meet and greet for an hour. So that's how North Hollywood is handling their Faith in Blue this year. Anybody's welcome to come to that. And I think that's about it. But, I was just thinking, when Mike, when you were talking about the grocers and stuff, I can talk to the captain, and maybe it might be good to have some sort of a town hall with all the grocers, and get them on board. Maybe try to get a business watch going in the North Hollywood area and Studio City. We've always tried to get a business watch going, and we haven't worked too hard on that, but that's another option. We used to have that with all the businesses shutting down. So that's something to think about. I don't know if they'd be interested in doing something like that. Just sort of.
All these grocers have ex-law enforcement or military people in their loss prevention department. So they will call their managers and say, reach out to the senior lead officer, et cetera, if they know that that's the person that will come out and they can discuss, because they do see what's going on. They know the names of the homeless people as well as the officers.
Yeah, it might be good to get, if we did a town hall, it might be good to, get the deputy chief there, and maybe even Kevin Duffner, a neighborhood prosecutor, so they could understand what's going on as far as, burglary from the shoplifting and stuff, what can be done and what can't be done. And you know, if everybody's all upset about it, it's time to make your voices heard to the city council people and at the Board of Police Commissioner meetings, to let them know that this has got to change, that there's a big loss, and it's obviously passed on to the consumer, and already our prices are going up. We don't need them to go up because of people going in and shoplifting. So that's something to think about. And also too, there's also possibility that we might be able to down the road do a run hide fight for the employees at a market in case there is an active shooter coming in. So there's a couple of things that we could do. But like I said, it probably wouldn't happen till the first of the year. And like Sean said, that we're really short, you know, losing officers, our patrols, our officers are working overtime. And if you listen to the scanner, North Hollywood is the busiest division in the valley. They average anywhere between 1,000 and 500 calls per week that they respond to. And so they're running crazy. And I know that we were number 3 in the city. And as far as response time, usually we've been pretty good in North Hollywood division, that when there's a 911 call, they're usually there within 7 to 8 minutes of the call. I mean, it's not great, but it's better. And then for a non-emergency call, it could take at least an hour and a half. And that's because they're non-emergency. And when you call communications, your call gets logged in order. It's like standing in line at a grocery store, and you get 2 people in front of you that are just taking things out of their basket one at a time, so slow, and everybody else is waiting, and maybe you're the 3rd person behind and you're having a heart attack, but you can't get through because they've got to take the calls in order. So it's trying to educate the public that, you know, call 911 when you see a crime in progress. Don't call and complain about loud music or anything like that. That's a non-emergency number. And then also too, people have to keep in mind that a lot of these city ordinances and crimes are not being filed. So that's a big problem. A lot of times, you know, I heard a deputy chief talk about this one guy that got arrested for stealing a car. He gets out, you know, practically right away. But as he do, he goes out and steals another car, gets arrested, gets out right away, goes out and steals a 3rd car, like all within a day or 2. So that's a big problem, and, you know, especially with this no bail. So those are things that everybody needs to think about. And, you know, the department and our captain always says, you get what you vote for. You know, if people aren't educated about what they're voting for, like Proposition 47, 57, and AB 109, people didn't do their homework. It was sold as a different thing than what it really is. And now we're seeing the effects of those propositions that were passed. So the best thing to do, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, you need to really educate yourselves of what you're voting for, and also the policies and bills that the potential candidates, you know, have supported in the past, and what the impact it has on public safety. And those are the things that it doesn't matter. Like I said, if you're right or left of the aisle, we all want to live in a safe, clean environment, free of crime. But you need to keep that in mind when you go to the polls. And another thing that's coming up, I know, is that the Burlington Coat Factory incident is, you know, almost finished with their use of force investigation. And it's been, you know, investigated by several different entities from the state, you know, down to the Inspector General and the Board of Police Commissioners. So it isn't just like the LAPD is doing the investigation. It goes to other entities outside of the department, and then they come up with what they feel is the right thing, if it was in policy or out of policy, and what the ramifications or whatever is going to happen to the officers involved in that. So that's about all I have. If you have any questions. I know it was a mouthful.
Thanks for that, Sherry. Patty, do you want to add anything as well?
You're muted.
That was about everything, but I do want to emphasize again how much the captain and the rest of the CPAB board members enjoyed hearing that letter. It
Yeah.
really made a good notch for Studio City to
Yeah.
recognize. So yay, everybody.
Yeah, and it was funny because one of our board members is in Toluca Lake, and she goes, well, we have 2 senior lead officers in Studio City. What about Curtis? They should have acknowledged him too. And I said, Curtis was acknowledged already by the Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council. I said, so he already got one. So Sean gets his own. And of course, I read the letter before Sean came on to give his report. So I made sure that he was totally embarrassed by the time he came onto our meeting.
But it really
Great.
makes a difference. It really helps.
Yeah, and thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it, and I know the captain does, and the department does. Little things like this mean an awful lot to them. We had a CPAB PALS end of summer barbecue for our officers, and Patty was there helping out, and the word was unbelievable. They are so appreciative of little things like that, and they need it for their morale and all the hard work that they're doing every day out there. And especially in this climate, it's not an easy climate to be a police officer. So thank you for that as well.
Thank you, Patty, and thank you, Sherry, for all that you guys do. Let's go to public comment. Looks like we have one hand up. Mr. Goat, go ahead.
Yes, and so Patty understands, and Sherry and everybody, that I have been suppressed to only 60 seconds by Democrat socialist Jeff Hartwig. Yes, because who likes to listen to me? Conservatives, yes. Sheriff supporters, yes. The LAPD really likes you too. That's right. But how come the LAPD commission has such a negative opinion of a tiny little peaceful animal like myself? I just can't understand it. I wish I could go there and talk to them more. And speaking of more, the moron chairman there. And then finally, those of us of the Hebrew persuasion, are there any of these events in the Hebrew persuasion? Because you were only giving us addresses to the Goyim and the Jesus worshippers, and some of us have a problem going in those places. But we think they're cults.
Well,
that's right.
Mr. Goat Puppet, I could respond to that comment if like.
Oh,
At our open house, we did have it on a Sunday, and we had the Jewish community that were able to come to that. It was a big success, and they were very happy. Also, through the Jewish holidays, our volunteer patrol team provides extra patrol along with the officers for the high holidays. So they're very receptive. So we have not left out the Jewish community at all. They're part of us, and we take care of them as well.
Yes. Hey, good job there. Shout out to you. Good job, Richard. Thank you.
All right, let's see. Is there any committee commentary for Sherry?
I will.
Go ahead, Patty.
I just want to say how much I appreciate Sherry. No one knows how much time she puts in, not just for Studio City where she lives, but also for the entire North Hollywood division. It's pretty awesome. So
Thanks,
just
Patty.
acknowledge her.
Thank you. Been doing it for way too long. 31 years as a volunteer is, I'm still waiting for my first paycheck. They keep promising me it's in the mail.
Yes, it is in the mail.
Thank you for that, Sherry. I will have one comment about the grocery organization. I know that they're probably beset by lots of shoplifting, and I was astounded to find out that the Ralphs next door to the Park and Ride back in November, December last year, their losses were $60,000 a month because they were essentially the pantry for the 30 plus people living at the homeless encampment there at the Park and Ride. So I think the town hall idea is pretty good. Mike, why don't you go ahead and my email address is at the website. Email me any questions you have, and I think it would be a good idea to get the grocers together for a town hall. And we'll put Officer Smith in the loop as well, and try to get something going there. I think that's a great idea. Other than that, see no other committee comment. Thank you, Sherry, for your work as always, and Patty. Let's move on to agenda item number 8, which is an update from committee members on the neighborhood team program pop-up drill held on August 27, 2022. So that was on a Saturday, and I attended the pop-up drill. It was at Radford Studios, and many of the CERT members were there. The CERT kits that the Studio City Neighborhood Council purchased were available for our use, and we got to open them up and use some of the gear, and it was really a great experience. Patty helped shepherd that event. I know Jerry on the committee was there, Scott Mandel was there. I was there. Also, several board members were there. I believe Chip was there. Adele, who is a committee member on sustainability, was there. So we had a lot of participation from the board and or committees from Studio City. So Patty, if I could get your take on what happened, lessons learned, and let us know what went on.
Well, what we did is we split up into four different groups to go out into the community. Alpha, Delta, I forgot what the other, Charlie, and one of the other, Beta. Went out into the, with assignments to go out into certain streets. They had a map, and they rehearsed scenarios of an emergency. For example, a garage door slammed on an apartment building that trapped a man's leg or something like that. So they had to assess the situation, report back into the radios to the command center, and that went on in 4 different paths through around the site where we started. So it was very good. I think we had 38 people there. A lot of people, not even from our community, some from Sherman Oaks. And now Sherman Oaks is going to be doing the same thing. It's been successful, and we're starting to spread it through North Hollywood. The next step on this project is to really get our team back together, our Studio City team, and practice the radio with the radios, and further take a look at the equipment that we still actually need to supplement. Like we noticed we needed lights. We don't have lights in there, so we have to come up with, ways to get some lighting, lanterns or things like that. So I have a list of things that we need to add to our kit. And so we need to meet, and I kind of tried to schedule a meeting, but I couldn't make it myself. So we'll have another meeting. We want to take the radios out and practice with them. Maybe having different members take on a neighborhood, like Silver Triangle. Chip volunteered to do Silver Triangle. Scott could do his neighborhood. Jeff, you could do your neighborhood. Jerry, yours, mine, and see how far, test the reach of the, we have, I think we have 20 radios. So we have to make sure they're all charged and ready to go at any time. So we have to meet and plan that out. So I will be in touch, set up another time. I just wanted to get an idea of when you guys would like to do it. Does a Sunday afternoon work or a Saturday afternoon work best for an hour and a half, say?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine for me.
Same here.
Okay, it's just a small commitment, just to make sure everything's in order, and that we're familiar with it. When the disaster strikes, we have to be able to react. So thank you, everybody. And we do have a good list of people, so I'll share that also with the committee. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Patty. Jerry, you were there. Can you tell me what your experience was during the drill?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the drills. It's good practice for what we would have to do if something like that occurs. I mean, the documentation is cool, but unless you walk through it and see those scenarios live, sort of live, then you really get a feel for how it all ties together. And this is something that's like a what if scenario, but look what's happening on the East Coast right now in Florida. That's the type of stuff, not at that scale, but when people have to come out and help the community, because the law enforcement and emergency services can't get to everyone. And they need people out there to help understand what the landscape is and what the assessments are. So if we have any information that we want to share to help recruit or get more people involved, this is probably a good time to try to share that and help them understand what we need to do here in case something happens like what happened in Florida.
Definitely. Thank you for that, Jerry. Scott Mandel, any thoughts on the drill?
Sure. Who's the one who said everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth?
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, that's right. So I think it was great to see the kits, to physically look inside, to get all the people there, to look at the maps, the whiteboard. And I think the area that we need the most practice in and for preparing are the radios. I think there was some issue with people not keying the mics properly and not identifying who they are. And it takes a little practice. And that's what this is all about. It's practice. And at certain moments, it was actually exciting and it was fun. And it was great working with all the dedicated people. And Patty, as soon as you have the time for the next meeting, I'm there.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Scott. Let's see. Any public comment out there on this important issue? Here's a Mr. Go Puppet Sheriff has a comment. Go ahead.
Yes, that's right. And as you see, I get my radio to work, but sometimes, I have to pick up something sometimes and give it a couple of taps. That's how you loosen the keys on these radios. Yes, I teach the young people good things like that, and to respect their elders as we continue to try to fight to get back. But back on a week ago, we had a drill up in the Angeles National. That's where all the rich, the really smart, rich white people live and have all that water, millions of gallons of free water. Yeah, so we're going to lock the gates. So when there's a major disaster and all of you are down there, we're not going to let you go north of the 5. We're going to turn you around. That's why we had a little drill, see. So remember, when there's a problem down in the basin, Go Puppet will be just fine going back to his farm. And he might let a couple of you out there if you were nice. Only if you were nice. Nobody's nice to you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Go Puppet Sheriff.
I'm the sheriff.
I don't see any other hands up. So thank you, everyone, for giving us an update about how the NTP drill went. Let's move on to agenda item number 9. Let me post this 1 second.
Did you hit my $900 radio? Oh, no. Ow! Taking it away. That'd be nice.
Bear with me. I'm trying to, something's not going right on my end here. 1 second.
Unjam a screen. Okay, try it now.
Well, I'm not able to to share my screen, so let me go ahead and read it from my screen. 1 second. All right, here it is. Pardon me. Here we are. Sorry about that. SCNC supports Council File 22-1088, title Automated External Defibrillators, AEDs, City Parks and Recreation Facilities, Location and Utilization, Maintenance and Infrastructure Costs. More than 356,000 Americans experience cardiac arrests outside of a hospital every year, and less than 10% survive. It is estimated that up to 30% of victims could survive if they had access to an immediate medical response, such as cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, and defibrillation. In many public buildings, automated external defibrillators, AEDs, are required. Unfortunately, there are no requirements that be made available at public parks. The city of Los Angeles should take the lead and rectify this void. It therefore makes sense to have the Department of Recreation and Parks report back to the city council on the number and location of AEDs at RAP facilities, a record of utilization of AEDs, a plan for implementing AEDs at every RAP facility in the city, and costs associated with the plan. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement, CIS, to Council File 22-1088. All right, then. So I was looking through the council file. There wasn't a whole lot going on in terms of public safety, but I thought this felt within the purview of our committee. And it does make sense to have an AED at a public park, since so many different people utilize the park doing athletics and whatnot. So, I mean, they're on airplanes, they're in airports, they're in different public facilities, they're at schools, especially in areas that in gyms and things of that nature. So it really does make sense to save lives and try to get these AEDs in our public parks. So that's what the motion is all about. And with that said, I will go to public comment. Looks like we have one taker. Go Puppet, go ahead.
Yes, now, for the record there, you had to see that on the video. Somebody hit me in my nose with a wrench. Ow, it hurt. You deserved it. Ow, said your mother. What? Oh, nothing, yes. Now, let's get on to this here. A defibrillator. Yes. So there's Jeff again, trying to save the weak. Yes, let's spend the money and save the strong. A defibrillator? Well, that's somebody like the late George Herbert Walker Bush. Remember that? Yes, he needed a defibrillator when he was in Japan and ate the wrong fish. And that's like 30 fucking years ago, and people are still trying to buy these expensive defibrillators all this time. Goat Puppet found a way. The homeless apparently have their own defibrillators. They just tap into a street light, and then they zap, and then a person comes back. We should take a look and see if we can harness this technology. Yes. But again, too much
Time.
money. Yes, and how do you maintain them? Who's going to pay? Hey, that's a good point. Yes, thank you.
By the way, I'll second that motion for you.
Good point. Thank you. I appreciate that. Scott? Mike, go ahead.
Okay, I just think it's important to note that private health clubs are required by law, by statute, to have them. So, and they're generally smaller than any of the city parks. So just common sense should prevail that, if a private health club is required to by law, why shouldn't a park have a defibrillator? Just so you know, they run about $1,000. That's about, you can get them cheaper, you can get it 700, you can get 1,100, but they're in that $1,000.
I agree. It makes perfect sense. Any committee comment?
It's Patty here. I'm glad you found that, Jeff, to put on our agenda. We did have an incident at Beaman Park, and it would have been nice if we had a defibrillator when I was there at tennis one day. So I think it's a peace of mind, and we have a rather large community that hangs out at that park. So thank you for finding that.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Finally, whoever's gonna speak.
Hello. Hey, so just heads up. I'd rather see these at the parks than not see them. But I was an EMT, so I was trained not as a paramedic, but as an EMT, and I worked as an EMT on an ambulance in LA. So I was trained on these things. I do got to say that, just for clarification, they're not. While they're pretty technologically advanced, and they're not supposed to operate if, let's say, the pads are placed incorrectly, or they're not placed in there's no correct contact. Sometimes they if used incorrectly, they can cause more harm than good. I'm not saying that this is an argument against this. I just don't want. I would rather people be aware that this isn't something that just your average person can just come on and in 2 seconds strap it on and push a button and miraculously work. The reason why a lot of these smaller places, if they're required to have them by law, they also have to have some kind of training. Granted, they're not the best training, but if someone in the park, I just don't want people to get the wrong idea. That being said, I'm all for this. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Ira. Yeah, I would imagine that just for liability purposes, the city will provide the staff who works at the Parks and Rec, adequate training. And I'm pretty sure that the device itself will be located in the actual building so that the staff can access it. So, I hear what you're saying, and hopefully that the city will, as part of their report and plan, we'll take that into account. Any other comment out there? I see one public comment. Let's go ahead and run by Mr. Goat again. Go ahead.
Yes, that's right. See, Ira had to dump the truth on you, didn't he? He sounds just like a conservative Republican, and that's very troubling to me. Yes, we should require that where these things are put, that city employees have the training and have that filed. Yes, imagine giving city employees more extra money and more goodies to sit on their ass. Yes, the gift that keeps on giving. Or you can agree with Goat Puppet and deny this motion. And just remember, if you're over the age of 60 and running around on a tennis court, you are clinically insane. Goat Puppet, providing common sense solutions.
Thank you for that, Mr. Puppet. All right, seeing no other comments, let's go ahead and vote on this. Start myself, Jeff Harwick, yes. Alexis Steinberg's absent. Patty Kirby,
Yes,
Jerry Lewis,
Yes.
and Scott Mandel.
Yes.
The motion passes. Thank you for that. Let's move on to agenda item number 10, discussion regarding potential topics for future meetings. I really don't have anything more to say except that we should try to meet regarding the NTP drills and radio training, that sort of thing. And Mike, I look forward to your email, and perhaps we can get a town hall going regarding the grocers and shoplifting issues. other than that, that's all I have to say. I guess we got to go to public comment. What do you think, Mr. President?
Sure, why not?
Any public comment out there about what I just said?
Raise your hoof.
Any committee comment? Oh, there's Mr. Go Puppet Sheriff. Go ahead.
Yes, yes. I'm trying, human. Ow. So, yes, a future item should be, as you Democrats out there know, you're going to elect Faisal Gill as your city attorney. Who the hell is he? Yes, you haven't heard of him either. Yes, he's a Democrat socialist. Yes, he's basically like our district attorney, but far, far more to the left of Bernie Sanders. Yes, he wants to have a moratorium once he wins of 180 days of filing no charges against any homeless criminal out there. Yes, I think you should invite him here and ask him some questions. Yes, I know. You're not going to vote for the other lady because you like chaos like I do, don't you? Deep down, you're just like Goat Puppet. You love chaos. Yes, and thank God Brandon took the night off finally since the revolution. He's not here tonight.
That's time.
Yes, good. He's finally giving up.
Thank you, Mr. Puppet, for that. Any committee comments? Seeing none, let's move on to agenda item number 11, closing comments. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. I appreciate it. Looks like we had a good meeting. It was good to see Officer Smith, Sherry, and Patty with your CPAB updates. And hopefully next month we can get one of the neighbor prosecutors to show up and inform us about what's going on with that end of the spectrum. So anyway, that's all I have. Thank you. I move that we adjourn. Any seconds on that?
Second,
Thank you, Patty. We are now adjourned. The time is 8:03. Thank you. See you next month.
thank you, Jeff, for a great
Good
meeting.
night. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.